Football is awesome. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, everybody. Welcome back to Friday Night Roots. I'm your host, Justin Thomas. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. Please share, please like, get it out, get the word out there, and let's jump right into it and let's talk some ball. Rams Vikings. It's kind of one of those games you kind of sit back after the game and you kind of just don't know how to feel. You don't know what emotions kind of hit you. It was one of those games where you're kind of confused. And when it came to the Rams Vikings game tonight, I just felt like it was always like, it was one of those games where you're like, okay, well, the Vikings just got to score here. They can get everything back on track, right? And it was like that. It was like that. And then you hit halftime, and you're like, uh-oh, this is not looking good. They showed an interesting graphic on ESPN tonight about how going into this game, the Rams were 20th in points scored on offense this season, and the Vikings were 9th. And it was like, okay, they kind of laid the stage for kind of how what America thought it was going to go, right? Well, it didn't go how we thought it was going to go. Kind of start off the game, Rams went for it on a fourth down, and then the Vikings ended up just jumping off sides and giving it to them. So scored pretty easy there. Then Rams ran it right back down the field, ended up kicking a field goal to go up 10-0. And immediately everyone's like, I'm like, okay, well, that's all right. It's early, nothing crazy. And then this crazy, I did want to talk about really quick the play with Stafford where he fumbled the football and it ended up getting overturned because they said he threw it forward. My opinion of that is bullshit. I don't think that should have counted. I think that was a clear and decisive fumble. I mean, per the NFL rules, I know that was the right call to make. But per Justin rules or per what I feel as if at any point in time you're underhanding it just to simulate throwing it away when you end up dropping it 3 feet in front of you. That's fucking ridiculous. That should have been a fumble and that should have been a touchdown. But I digress. I do believe, according to how the rules are written, yes, it was a dead ball and an incomplete pass. But I don't know. Anyway, after that, okay, so that happens, and anyway, it still doesn't matter. Rams go fourth down, and then okay, cool, roughing the kicker on the Rams. We're like, okay, Vikings got a first down. This is awesome. And then Darnold throws this ridiculous pick intended for Addison straight to Durant, and that's with 10 minutes left in the second quarter. And then following that, the Vikings tight end Oliver almost fumbles it, but it turns out that gets overturned. And then following that, Witherspoon forced a fumble that Jared Verse ended up running it back for a touchdown. And it was like, oh my God, what the hell is going on? I just kept watching Sam Darnold tonight, and I kept watching the protection. I kept watching the defense, and it was embarrassing. It was like Sam would hike the ball and just plant his feet, grab the ball, and just sit there like this. Just like that. He'd hike the ball and sit there. We're going, Sam, move your feet, get out of the pocket, or throw the ball. And he just couldn't. It was ridiculous. I mean, there was I was watching the game, and I'm like, with my roommate, and we're like, throw the ball. You got to let go of the ball, man. You can't keep holding on to it. I mean, it was like, it was so sad. And then the 4th and 2, kind of towards the end, the middle of the third quarter, Sam gets sacked for the 6th time, and then at that point when they show the graphic, every time he gets sacked, it's like, oh boy, this is just listen, when you can't protect against the blitz, you have to reestablish the run. You basically have to restart your game plan. You have to reestablish the run, try and create some sort of chance for a play action, back up the safeties a little bit, give yourself a little more room to operate, but that just didn't happen. And then, the Rams ended up throwing up that touchdown to the tight end Allen, and then it went up 24-3 Rams, and then Rams kicked a field goal 27-3. And then, Sam hit Hawkinson for a 26-yard touchdown there at the end. They ended up missing the 2-point conversion, so that didn't help. And then, right at the start of the fourth, at this point, you kind of know the game's over. But at that point, then Sam takes his 7th sack with 12 minutes left in the fourth, and then the Vikings just couldn't stop the blitz. They just needed to get the run game more involved, and that just didn't happen. Sam ended up going 24 for 38. And, I think they kind of pulled a Baltimore Ravens last year where they gave up on the run. And I think of that first two or three drives, there were a couple runs where, Aaron Jones was really starting to get his rhythm. I mean, he wasn't, they struggled to run the ball, but it wasn't not working, I should say. They could have found more creative ways. You'd think Kevin O'Connell would have something up his sleeve to mitigate the risk of the impact that Rams defense was having. It was crazy. And then, kind of just right at the end there, they had just given up. I think I tweeted something like, they were running the football still with, 6-7 minutes left. And it was like, guys, I understand you need to reestablish the run, but at this point, and so anyway, point is they're running the football. The Vikings are just walking up to the line of scrimmage. There's no hustle. There's no hype. Sam's already hung his head. And he's on the sideline pacing back and forth. And it was just like, oh man, just take a knee and get the hell out of there. I mean, you just cheer as the winners go by, as they say. You lost. I mean, you flat out just shit the bed. Later on in the game, Vikings don't end up getting the fourth down and end up turning it over with 3 minutes left, and that's all she wrote. Like I said, overall game opinion, just huge congratulations to the Rams and Sean McVay and Matthew Stafford and Puka Nacua and Jared Verse and Cooper Kupp and just that whole team. I mean, what an outstanding performance. I mean, granted, I think what the Lions did to the Vikings last week really unlocked the potential for what the Rams could do to the Vikings if they they copied that model that Aaron Glenn had, and that looks like exactly what they did. It looks like they mirrored Aaron Glenn. They Sam Darnold kind of tonight reminded me a lot of Brock Purdy, and when you put that much pressure on him and you play good man-to-man defense, it is just going to be so hard. And to even when they weren't double teaming Jefferson, which they were a lot. I mean, they played Jefferson so well tonight. They had their high safety over the top. They either had a middle linebacker, a corner, or their free safety kind of playing underneath him. They didn't let any layer of Justin Jefferson get behind the defense. They were very careful, and the times he did get single coverage, he just couldn't get open on time. Sam didn't have enough time, and not only that, Sam was setting up a campfire in the backfield trying to play cards with his friends. I mean, there was no time at all that he expressed urgency to get rid of the football, and that's what killed me. And I know Kevin O'Connell must have been saying something. At the 2-minute warning, it was 9:27, and that was the game. So, huge congratulations to the Rams on their defense in terms of their D line. They ended the game with 9 sacks. Kobe Turner ended with 2. Verse ended up with that run back touchdown. I think there was Johnson ended up getting a half a sack. So 9 sacks, unreal. I mean, I don't remember what they said at the broadcast, but one of the highest amounts in a playoff game. Incredible job by them. I wrote down towards the end of the game, I'm really evaluating Sam at this point, and I don't want to put too much emphasis on the Vikings, but it's kind of hard not to in this episode, just because. Congrats to the Rams and the Vikings. What the hell happened? I mean, it was just a piss poor performance, and they just showed up and got worked. They got absolutely worked. Kevin O'Connell got worked. He got outcoached, outschemed, outplayed, and then Sam, for some reason, wanted to glue the ball to his hands tonight and just couldn't get rid of it. And anyway, point is, I was sitting there and they're talking about Sam Darnold. They're talking about the implications of his contract in the future, and I'm scrolling Twitter, and I think Sam lost a lot of money tonight. I've seen people talk about it in the broadcast. They mentioned it. This will have a huge impact on his future contract. It will. And I wrote down millions. I think Sam lost millions and millions of dollars tonight. I mean, a substantial amount. I think just the way he played, he almost kind of did the Russell Wilson thing here at the end, where he just fell over and died. And it was like, Sam, what's going on? We all know you're better than this. We know you have the precision. It just felt like it's like he got punched in the mouth once at the beginning of the game, and the confidence just never returned for him or the Vikings. It just never came back. It never returned, and it ultimately ended up in their downfall. So, overall feelings on the game. I feel bad for the Vikings. It's just one of those franchises who's just never been to a championship game still, since I think they're the oldest franchise in sports history, who hasn't been to a championship game of their kind. I mean, tough one. It'll be interesting to see, how the media comes out and treats Kevin O'Connell. It'll be interesting to see what the media says about Brian Flores and the defense and how they played tonight. I didn't think the Vikings defense played terrible. I just felt like Sean McVay just outcoached the hell out of both sides of the ball. And credit to the Rams DC. Sorry, I'm blanking on his name, but credit to him too. They out schemed them. They just outballed them. They played way better football in all three phases. Every down, every play, it looked like Matthew Stafford came out swinging, and it looked like it almost looked like they had nothing to lose, and because they had nothing to lose, they didn't have that 14-2 pressure. They just had the, hey, we're here, let's play some football, and that's what I loved about how the Rams won tonight, and that's what I really didn't like about how the Vikings lost tonight. I think if they played that game a few times over, it would be, I think if they played that game 10 times over, 8 out of the 10 times it would be a close football game. I just think they gave up and ultimately couldn't do it. Anywho, congrats to the LA Rams, and let's move on. That's it. That's it for the wild card weekend. I had an absolutely awesome weekend. Some really good football. A couple boring, slower games in there, like the Broncos Bills, that just weren't too exciting for me. But ultimately, that Commanders game went Bucks game, and then this game, didn't disappoint. I thought they were good games. Once again, huge upsets from the Texans and Rams, and it's super exciting to see. And I guess we'll see where they go from now. And because of that, all the divisional rounds are set up. So Saturday, January 18th, you have that 4:30 Eastern time game. You've got Texans Chiefs, and then at that night game slot, you got Commanders versus Lions. So Texans and Chiefs will be good, and then I'm super stoked for that. Sorry, the Chiefs are the Chiefs, so I think you can kind of tell where I'm leaning there. Commanders versus Lions. Love the Commanders, love Jane Daniels. Think Jane Daniels could be the next multiple year winner, MVP, Lamar type. I don't know about them versus the Lions. I could see it though. Jane Daniels, the way some of these games, the way the games went tonight, you just never know who's going to show up and put their best foot forward. And as always, the Lions have the pressure, not the Commanders. They're the top dog. They're the one with the better record. And then Sunday we finish out January 19th. We've got Rams Eagles, the earlier slotted game in Philly, and then we've got the Ravens and Bills. Just super stoked for those ones. That's going to be the big one, MVP versus MVP. So yeah, I'll be doing a pregame prediction to those games also. I'll do it kind of later on in the week. This will be a little bit shorter of a video. And then, I think throughout this week, I'll do a couple news videos, talk about what's going on in the league. And then you'll see that preview video probably, next Friday, right before everything kicks off. So as always, appreciate you. Like, share, subscribe to the channel, everybody. And as always, let's talk some football. Love ya.